Welcome to Voices of Faith and Love, a Caregivers podcast, a place where faith, education, and advocacy come together to support those walking the caregiving journey. This podcast is for caregivers supporting loved ones through Alzheimer's, cancer, and chronic illness, and for anyone who has ever felt unseen, unheard, or overwhelmed in the process. Here, we break the silence of caregiving by sharing real stories, honest conversations, and practical resources. We believe that knowledge becomes power, and education equips caregivers to make informed, confident decisions while advocating for themselves and those they love. Through faith-filled dialogue, expert insights, and lived experiences, we empower caregivers to speak up, seek support, and stand strong, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We are your hosts, Tracey Jones
and Yolanda Moore, walking with you in faith, love, education, and advocacy.
One step, one story, and one voice at a time. Welcome to Voices of Faith and Love.
Sponsored by the Love and Rose Foundation and the Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Group.
Good afternoon, Yolanda.
Good afternoon, Tracey. I'm so excited. This is our first episode.
It's our first episode, and I am excited as well. And welcome to our listeners today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Voices of Faith and Love, a Caregivers podcast, because it is all about you. So thank you all for joining, and thank you, Yolanda. It's so good to be on here with you. We're going to have a wonderful time today.
Yes. So I think we need to start off just letting the audience get to know us a little bit better. So you mind starting off, Tracey, just to share a little about who Tracey is?
Yes, I will. So I am Tracey Jones. I have been on this journey for over 12 years. My mom and my dad had Alzheimer's, and I will tell you all a little bit about that story later on. But I have been on this journey for a long time. And I decided when my dad got sick back in 2012, after going through that journey and not knowing what to do, how to do, who to turn to, I decided that I wanted to help somebody else through that journey. And so in doing that and finding support, I reached out to the Alzheimer's Association, which was a lifesaver to me. Joined the support group, and the rest is history for me. Here I am, 14 years later, and I'm still telling people today how to be a good caregiver, not necessarily a good caregiver, or survive it, how to survive this journey, because it's a hard journey, and I just don't want to, make it easy or tell somebody something that's not true, because it's a very hard journey. But the good news is you can make it. And so that is why I am here today. That is why I decided to start a support group with the Alzheimer's Association. And then me and Yolanda joined the support group. And then her and I decided to do this podcast because we wanted to reach the masses and let them know, one, that you can do it, you can make it, and you have all the support you need. And so that is the reason why I am here today on this podcast speaking to you all today. So that is my story. That is how I came to where I am today. How about you, Yolanda?
Well, mine was a little bit different. My mother passed away back in 2007 from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I was her caregiver briefly for about a year. Then she went into remission, but then it came back with a vengeance. And the last 6 months of her life, she moved in with me, and I was her sole caregiver. And I tell you, it was nothing but the grace of God, some good neighbors, and some church members that helped see me through to care for her up until she went home to be with the Lord. And then I met you because my father, he had a bout with cancer. He had prostate cancer.
Okay.
And he went into remission. We thought everything was fine.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, he's diagnosed with a form of dementia.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll go more into details about that. But that was my journey. But from when my mom passed away, after my healing process,
Uh-huh.
I started a nonprofit organization called the Loving Rose Foundation, where we support cancer patients and survivors and their caregivers.
Okay.
And then after my dad developed dementia, my board and I decided to add a dementia arm as well. And then we met because a friend of a friend referred me to the Alzheimer's caregiver support group.
Yes.
And we just been friends and buddies ever since.
We've been doing this thing together.
Yeah, supporting one another, praying for
Yes.
one another, and sharing information and other resources that we can help other people with on this caregiving journey.
Exactly. And that is why we're here
That's my
today.
why.
Yes. And
Because
that's
I
a
don't
good
want
why.
anybody else to have to go through this alone, because I know what that pain feels like, and I know how hard it can be when you don't have the support.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why we do what we do, Yolanda, because there are other people out there that are listening that are struggling as a caregiver, don't know where to go, don't know where to turn, don't know how to get support, don't know where to get support, don't know when to ask for support. And so we want to be your support on this
Right.
podcast. Once a month, we will be coming on and speaking with you all. And then we're going to even allow you all a chance to email us back and have conversations with us, because we want you to know that you are not in this journey alone. So we're going to go into our stories and let you hear a little bit about our journey, how hard it was, how tough it was, the decisions we had to make, and some of the things we went through to get there. So Yolanda, we'll start with you. So
Okay.
you mentioned earlier that both of your parents had a chronic illness.
Yes.
Let's start with your mom. What happened with your mom?
Well, back in, I would say, the early 2000s, my mom was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer.
Okay.
And during that time, to us, that seemed to be like a rare disease. I mean, we've never heard of that before.
Right.
And the first time, well, when she was first diagnosed, the doctor wanted to do a surgery to remove the growth where he thought the cancer was. And after prayer, with the church members praying, we praying, she praying, she went into surgery and the doctor couldn't find the cancer.
Oh, wow.
And I know it was nothing but the grace of God
Right.
that removed the cancer from her body.
Right.
And since she was good for about 6 months, so that she was just like on a pill that she had to take as a form of chemo treatment. And every once in a while, she would have to go for radiation treatment. So I took off from work. I took a leave of absence from my job. And I lived with my mom while she went through her treatment. And then everything went well, and she went through remission. And then she would go for her bi-yearly checkups. And then one of her checkups, the doctor realized it came back. And when it came back with a vengeance.
What was the moment like when she told you about that diagnosis when it came back? What was that moment like for you?
Well, when she told me about it, she told me over the phone. She didn't want to tell me over the phone, but I was like, I can't drive home waiting to hear in Atlanta traffic. I'm thinking all these crazy things in my mind. Like, Mama, no, you need to tell me now what's going on. What did the doctor say? And she said, he says it's cancer. And I almost dropped the phone.
Yeah.
And
because it takes your breath. It takes your breath for me.
Literally, you're right.
Yes.
It took my breath away. It really did. And just so happened, my director of our department, he walked by after I hung up the phone, and he just saw how I was looking. He's like, yo, that's what he called me. Yo, are you all right? And I was like, no. And I just broke down, and he took me to his office, and I told him what happened, and he was very supportive. In fact, everybody pretty much was very supportive on my job during that time. So it was
So,
hard. And I was young. I was like in my 30s, early 30s, when my mom
right.
first
And
got,
trying to deal with this. And so you were probably working or in school, had your own life, and, and then this happened. So how did that affect you as far as, you living your own life? Did it affect you, or did you have to stop doing certain things because of it?
well, dating was out of the question. In fact,
Right.
I tried to date this one young man, and he said he could deal with it, but he could not deal with it.
Because it's a lot. And if you don't know
Yes.
anything about caregiving, you don't know what we go through as caregivers.
Right. So we ended up breaking up, but looking back, it was a blessing in disguise
Right.
that I didn't go any further with that relationship.
Right.
And it was good. And it brought me and my mom closer together before she passed. So I was grateful for that time, those last 6 months. I was very grateful for that time we had together.
How long
It
did she live
definitely,
before she passed with it?
she lived for 6 years with the cancer.
Okay. Okay.
And then the last 6 months of her life, she moved in with me. At the time, because my girlfriend Kim, we kind of tricked her and say, "Hey, Miss Rose, you just gonna come with us just for the weekend, just to, just get a change of scenery, and spend some time with the Yolanda," not knowing that I had already called doctors and I'd have switched doctors around. I already got it in the cancer, the treatment center at Emory, and got her into a trial study. And when she found out, she was mad with me. She wouldn't talk to me
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you just gonna tell me my business? And she went off in a tangent. And then finally, for like 2 weeks, she just wouldn't talk to me. And then I don't know, was the Lord that talked to her, or one of her girlfriends that talked to her. And she finally came to herself and she said, "Okay, I understand you doing the right thing, and I'm not mad with you anymore." But we had to go through that phase.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Because it got to the point where she couldn't keep any food down those last 6 months, and food just didn't taste right. It tastes like, she kept saying it tastes like metal to her.
mm-hmm.
Things would smell good, and I would, give it to her, and she'd try it, and she's like, I just can't get that taste out my mouth. She couldn't even enjoy her food.
And it sounds a lot like dementia, because some of the dementia patients are like that. They can't, taste food, or food isn't good. And so that's why we decided to kind of like put these two things together, chronic illnesses, because a
Yes.
caregiver is a caregiver.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily have to be for dementia or a chronic illness or a cancer. A caregiver is a caregiver, and we all go through those same types of feelings and of overwhelmed and being angry or alone or not knowing who to turn to. I remember with my dad, he had a stroke. A lot of times they have strokes, or they may have some other type of trauma that happens that causes them to have dementia, which is what happened with my dad. We were living together at the time, and I was in school. I was in school full time. I was going to work full time. And so I had a full life. And then I had my full personal life. Like, I go out and be with my friends and family. And I
Right.
came home one day and my dad said, "Tracey, I'm not feeling well." And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "I don't know. I just don't feel well." Well, I was in the middle of writing a paper for school about strokes. And they give you all the signs of a stroke,
Mhm.
And so I said, "Well, Dad, raise your hands." I did all the signs, and I noticed that he could not do some of the things I was asking. So I called the ambulance, and sure enough, my dad was having a stroke.
Wow.
And shortly thereafter, dementia set in on him. And so then now I'm on my journey. And I'm like, "Lord, what am I going to do? Who do I call?" He was talking all crazy out of his head. And so I was going through this, and I'm like, "Lord, what am I supposed to do?" And so I said, well, let me just look it up. Let me go online. Let me Google and see what this is, because I had never experienced it. And the Alzheimer's Association came up. And so that's how I joined the support group. And now I am a facilitator for the support group for Alzheimer's. But it was a long road. I went through a lot, and yes, I was overwhelmed. I felt angry. I felt alone, but I was able to make it to support is so, so important. And taking care of yourself is just so important. How about you, Yolanda, with your dad? Because now your dad had dementia, right? He has dementia now.
And similar to your dad, we didn't find out until later because he was actually misdiagnosed at first. He did the slum analysis with a neurologist, and they said that he had Alzheimer's dementia.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to get, because I was familiar with trial studies, so I was able to get my dad into a Alzheimer's dementia trial study. And when they did more extensive studies of his brain, they realized that he had a series of small pen strokes, and that's what caused his memory loss, because it wasn't all of a sudden. It happened little by little by little.
Gradually.
But
Okay.
notice, and it was real crazy. See, back in 2018, I tore my Achilles tendon.
Mm-hmm.
And after I had my surgery, my dad came and got me because it was around Christmas time, and he picked me up and my auntie just so we could spend time with him for Christmas. He was fine. I mean, he drove from Savannah to Atlanta to South Carolina back to Savannah so we can spend Christmas together. And then by the time he drove us back, I noticed that January, February, something was wrong, because I'm talking to him on the phone and he couldn't articulate what he was trying to say, because we'll have a conversation like, that thing. I'm like, what thing, Dad? I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a man who was brilliant when it came to math. I mean, you could tell him any math problem and he can tell you the answer right off the bat. But when he did that slum analysis, Tracey, and he couldn't tell the lady what 2 + 2 was, I just broke.
Yeah, your heart sank.
It did.
That's the hard part, is
Yeah.
watching them go through this.
Yeah. That
Watching
was
them.
when I think I had my first grieving moment right there, because I knew my dad was gone. He wasn't there.
You know what, Yolanda? I did the most grieving while they were alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that until after both of them had passed. But I
Right.
did most of my grieving because I had to watch them suffer. I had to watch them go from, a person taking care of themselves, working, doing their own thing, to me having to do everything.
Right.
I ended up putting my mom and my dad eventually in a nursing home because I was caregiving alone, and I did it as long as I could. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm put my parents in a nursing home, or my husband or my wife." No one wants to go in a nursing home. No one lives their life thinking, okay, one day I'm going to a nursing home. But let me tell you, nursing homes are really your saving grace. Yes, you have to do your homework and finding a decent one, because you're going to always find something wrong, because nobody's going to take care of your loved one like you.
Right.
But I always tell people, as far as putting your loved one in a nursing home, your work is not over. You still have to go every day, every other day, and be very much a part of their care. That's how you get good care. You go and make sure that you're very much a part of their care every day, every other day. You cannot go 2 or 3 weeks and not see them and, and not know what's going on. You have to be very diligent about the care of your loved one when you put them in a nursing home. That is still caring for them. That is still loving them. That is still giving them the 24/7 care that they need. That was the hardest thing for me to really grasp, putting them in a nursing home, because I felt like I was just throwing them away. I felt like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm putting my mom or my dad in a nursing home. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, no, because I'm still going to go up there. I'm still going to be very much a part of their care.
Absolutely. And like you've always told us in our caregiver support group, everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different from
everybody's journey. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a good segue for us to take a quick break, and let's hear from our sponsors. Every day, families face the challenges of cancer and dementia, but no one should have to walk that journey alone. The Loving Rose Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to supporting cancer patients, dementia patients, cancer survivors, and their caregivers with compassion, resources, and hope. Founded In loving memory of Mrs. Rose Bates, we are committed to making lives easier through financial assistance, community support, and faith-driven encouragement. Rooted in love, guided by research, and powered by service, we are here for you. Join us, support us, give today. For more information, please visit our website at www.lovingrosefoundation.com. The Loving Rose Foundation, where love lives, support grows, and hope never fades. Caregiving is a journey of love, but even the strongest heart needs support.
Caregiving can feel overwhelming, whether you're feeling exhausted, uncertain, or just need someone who understands. But you don't have to walk this journey alone. Join our Alzheimer's support group, a safe, welcoming space where caregivers come together to share, learn, and be encouraged. If you're caring for a loved one with any form of dementia, we invite you to join our support group, a space filled with encouragement, understanding, and faith. Come be refreshed, uplifted, and reminded that God sees you, and so do we. We meet monthly, every fourth Monday at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom, open to all caregivers. For more information, email us at voicesoffaithandlove@gmail.com, because healing happens when we come together.
This caregiver support group is proudly sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome back to a Caregivers podcast.
How was it for you, Yolanda? How was your caregiving change your relationship with your loved one? Especially now with your dad, because your dad is still living and he has dementia.
He does.
Has your relationship with him changed at all?
Well, a lot, because we've gone from a man who supported me and was my advocate, and now it's in reverse. I'm his advocate. I'm the one who has to make sure that the VA and other agencies that are available to him give him the support that he needs. I'm calling, making sure that his aides come in time to see about him. Or if they need to be off, then I'm there to care for him. So it's a lot, especially dealing with the VA, because I tell you, dealing with that red tape and the paperwork, and then for them to deny you, and you have to redo the paperwork again. But I'm blessed that I was able to get a hold of some good people to tell me how to maneuver the system and how to fill out certain paperwork so my dad will get approved for the services that he earned as a Vietnam veteran.
Right. And see, you and I had two different situations. Neither one of my parents went in the service or anything like that. And both of them were in nursing homes. But for you, your dad, you have someone going in his home taking care of him. And so we're coming from two different spectrums, which are both still hard. So you have people coming in taking care of your dad. Now, your dad is not even here with you. He's in another state, correct?
He's in the same state, different city.
Oh, okay. So that's got to be hard for you.
Yeah, doing that.
Because you're not that
it's
close
about
with him.
3 to 4 hour drive one way, so I can see about him. Because if the caregivers are not available, if they need to take off for vacation or some emergency, I'm it. I have to just take off work.
Yeah, I think the hard part for caregivers, myself included, and you, is how do you juggle your time and their time and take care of them? Because a lot of people, especially, people who have come to the support group, have said, I feel so bad, I work so hard to take care of them and to see about them. But the one thing they do is forget about themselves. They don't go to the doctor themselves. They don't make sure they're eating. They don't make sure. So the same help, I tell people, the same help that you're giving them, you need to give to yourself. You have to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself as a caregiver, you won't be around to take care of your loved one. And that's the harsh reality that I had to learn. I had to learn that because I ended up being hospitalized because I was trying to take care of my dad. My brother was also sick at the same time. We were all living in the same household, and both of them were sick. And I made myself sick because I'm making sure they're taking their medicine, making sure they're eating, making sure they're going to the doctor. But I wasn't going to the doctor. I wasn't taking medication. So I ended up being hospitalized. While I'm in the hospital, who's going to take care of them? Right. Nobody. So it was a harsh reality for me. So when my mom got dementia, that light bulb went on and I was able to take care of myself, but also see about my mom at the same time. So that's the harsh reality. And that's why we're doing this podcast, because we want caregivers to know we see you, we love you, and we know that it's hard, but you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And I saw it firsthand working for human services, senior services directly, where caregivers who I talk to on a daily basis wanting services for their loved one, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from them. I now call to check and say, well, hey, where's your daughter? Oh, well, she died. What? Wow. Well, where's such and such? Oh, they're no longer here. She died, so such and such has to take over now. Right. Because they didn't care for themselves. I can't tell you how many times that we've heard about the caregiver end up dying before the person that they actually cared for.
Right. And that happens. I did not want that to happen to me. I did not want that to be my reality. But it is a reality for a lot of people. And like I said, that's why we're here. Because we're trying to tell people, hey, you got to take care of yourself as the caregiver. It is so
like
so
to stay on the airplane, put the mask on yourself before
you put your mask on first. Yes.
You have to put the mask on yourself.
So Yolanda, before we get out of here, because time goes by so fast when we're having fun. Yes, but I wanted to ask you, what would you say to someone who just became a caregiver?
Just like you were saying, Tracey, you have to make sure you take care of yourself. Get a good support system and take care of yourself.
Amen to that.
Yeah. And that support system, it may not be family. It may be church members. It may be an outside agency that you may need to help care for your loved one. The VA may provide services, or it may be the Office of Aging in your county that supports seniors. In Atlanta is the Atlanta Regional Commission. In Savannah is the Coastal Area on Aging that helps seniors. So, and in some of our next episodes that we'll talk about the different resources that are available for caregivers as well as the actual patients.
Yes. So I'm excited because our next episode, which is going to be in June, is going to be the caregivers burnout. Now, all of you caregivers need to watch this episode because we have all experienced the caregiver burnout. So we're going to talk about what is the caregiver burnout? How can you overcome the caregiver burnout? What is the caregiver burnout? So please make sure you definitely tune into our next episode for the June episode. And please let us know how you enjoyed our first episode by emailing us at voicesoffaithandlove@gmail.com.
And if you forget any of this information, we'll have it at the bottom of our description. As we come to the end of today's episode, remember this: you are seen, you are valued, and your caregiving journey matters. Through every challenge, every decision, and every quiet moment of strength, know that faith sustains, love carries, and knowledge empowers. By sharing our stories, educating the public, and advocating boldly, we break the silence of caregiving together. Thank you for allowing us to walk this journey with you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow us and share it with your fellow caregivers and friends. Until next time, we are your hosts,
Tracey Jones
and Yolanda Moore, walking with you in faith, love, education, and advocacy. One step, one story, and one voice at a time. This is Voices of Faith and Love, a Caregivers podcast, where your voice matters. sponsored by the Loving Rose Foundation and the Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Group.